Round of applause for Sister of the Bride, Kelly Eterno.
Okay, it's 4 pages, but I write big, so. Hey everybody, I want to thank you all for being here today. We're so blessed that the weather held up and we have so many familiar faces in the room. I'm Callie, Gina's sister, and maid of honor, if you don't know me. But I wrote there. But first, before anything, on behalf of my family, I want to thank Executive Caterers for all they did to make today perfect. The food that you're eating tonight is the result of a lot of people. My father and mother, Nancy and Carmen Deterno, especially, working really hard for the past few months, and I'm really just in awe of how well everything is come together. This location, Kankakee Golf Course, I don't know about Gina, but I knew when we first visited that this was it. The space is beautiful and understated, just like my sister. And this night is a perfect representation of the grace Gina brings to all of our lives. I want to thank you too for bringing so many people together. The last year since Andrew proposed has gone by so quickly, but in it are so many precious milestones and priceless instances that were perhaps destined to happen someday, but certainly expedited by your union. And now in September, the month of change, all of the new meetings, unions, jokes, friendships, and reunions come together to be celebrated today. Your love, like all love, is always generative, always creating and rebuilding. Thanks for giving us a reason to meet each other, laugh and cry together, or reason to build lasting bonds for the future. And throughout your union, which will be fruitful and abundant in the same way that our love has been. As Gina's sister, I had the distinct pleasure of spending what I'm sure Andrew would say is an inordinate amount of time with the two of them over the past year. And while sometimes it seems we were just passing the hours together in their apartment, we were doing much more. We were building memories that I'll someday share with your children. I was given the distinct privilege of being the sole archivist of many precious moments between the two of you. And I cannot thank Andrew enough for letting me share my sister's joys and sorrows with her and with him. Andrew, when we were younger, I used to pray that my sister would find someone who would treat her like she deserved to be treated. Deeply moved by her compassion and hurt when I saw her discouraged, I prayed she'd meet someone who worshipped her. That word worshipped is one that resonated within me for a long time. But what has been most powerful to me is how your love has continued to teach me more and more. Sorry. As I watched it grow. While you two love each other unconditionally, I do not look at you and see two people on a constant mission to make one another better. Rather, I see every day you practicing love in a way that is active and supportive. And as I've mentioned, generative and creative. You don't make Gina better, Andrew. You give her the time and space and occasion to be herself, which is not a gift a lot of people have. When I was in college, I wrote a description of love that described it not as some glorious mystery of human interaction, but as a skill that can be learned and practiced, and I'd like to share learned application without reason or motive except that it is God. You do not deserve love regardless of the suffering you endured. You do not deserve love because somebody did you wrong. You do not deserve love simply because you want it. You can only earn, by practicing careful contemplation, the right to express it, and you have to learn to accept it. You have to practice. And if you are a good and diligent student, Andrew, you may earn the right to show love. Love is not a gift. It is a gift. So, I like that quote because I love that it acknowledges the hard work that love demands from all of us to always grow and change and prosper, not only for ourselves, but with one another and part of the whole. It demands that we expect a lot of each other and a lot of ourselves. And my favorite story to tell people when they're like, do you like this guy? Like, is he cool? I tell them a story about when I was hanging out in their apartment one night and Gina had run out of contacts, so disposable lenses, and she asked Andrew if she could wear hers to work the next day, wear his to work the next day. And he was like, no, you can get your own. And she was like, why would you do that to me? And he was like, if I give them to you, how are you ever going to learn? Order them on time for yourself. And I remember thinking, wow, Gina and I aren't very organized, so that's like, it was really like an existential hit. Like, oh my God, like, what is she going to do? And she looked at him, she was like, what are you going to do when I start bumping into things? And he said, well, I'll be here to let you know before you bump into something. He still didn't give her his contact. I started rewriting my speech like a couple hours ago because last night we got to the hotel and Gina was like, oh, Andrew doesn't have any more contacts, so I let him use mine. I was like, oh my God, you're starting my whole speech, but cool. So, I guess it's better that if both of them had gotten LASIK before this, and I don't know had glasses or contacts. What would we do? So, the last thing I want to say is when I was a child at night, before every one of Gina's birthdays, I sat up and prayed against reason that the next day wouldn't come. Because what if tomorrow came and Gina was 10, was 13, was 18, etc., and we couldn't relate to each other? What if she didn't want to play with me? I said the similar prayer in spite of myself. Before every big event in Gina's life. Like when she left for college, when she got her first big girl job, when she moved to excruciating hours away from me to Columbus, but last night, laying next to Gina in our hotel beds, like we did so many times when we were little, I didn't fold my hands and make that wish. Years of practice, letting go piece by piece of my sister and seeing her always come back a more full and grateful version of who she's always been, has taught me that just like every time before, I'm not losing a sister, but this time gaining a brother. And even more so, a stronger source of love, support, and connectedness in my life. On behalf of everyone here, I thank you too for taking on the challenge of showing others how to love and be loved. And that to love yourself is the greatest way to bring love into other people's lives. You have opened yourselves up to this union, and by extension, united 2 families and countless friends. I wish you many years of sharing laughter, tears, contact lenses and glasses. I wish you LASIK eye surgery now if you want to get it. I wish you a happy home full of things to keep each other from tripping over and bumping into. And I want to tell Gina that when you asked me to be your maid of honor, I was terrified. I hoped that someone would run in and say they could do a better job. Because I didn't think that I was up for the challenge. But you were sure that I could. And I've grown so much as a person since I started this. And I just want to thank both of you. I wish you all the luck in the world, but you already